Aloha and good morning. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz and I'm joining you from World Tourism Network this morning in Hawaii. Together, we're having this Zoom conference with with Itobo News Group, Hawaii News Online, and our many partner publications around the world. You can also see us on Facebook, on LinkedIn and YouTube, and on Vimeo. If you're joining us and you see us on Facebook, on Vimeo, or on any of our other platforms on Itobo News, and you wanted to be part of this discussion, it's still not too late. Just go to World Tourism. I think I lost you here. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry about this. Go to worldtourismevents.com and you find this event about Hawaii right on the top. Today, we're not going very far, even though we have an audience from all over the world. We're going to stay right here in our home state where we're based, Hawaii. And you hear me every time when we start one of our sessions to say aloha. And aloha is our local greeting. And we can probably hear more of what this means later on during this event. But we are expecting a really interesting discussion about the reopening of tourism here in our state. And I have to say, before we start, I'm very proud to live here because I really think we have done everything right compared to many destinations that have done so many things wrong. So we're in a better state. Tourism is actually, it looks like it's booming to me, but we will know about this one in a few minutes. And it seems to be okay because our numbers with COVID, actually, even though they're spiking a little bit sometimes in between, they're not scary and they're down, and our vaccination rate is like Serbia. It's very, very high. Maybe this is what island countries, island nations, island states have in common. We can control and see where, how we stand and how we control tourism and entries better maybe than the rest of the United States. We also have a few regulars and a few good friends on board. I wanted to first of all introduce our co-host and partner who has been with us from the very beginning, Dr. Taleb Rifat. And for those in Hawaii, we have a few new faces who don't know Taleb. He is based in Amman, Jordan, and he was the former Minister of Tourism for the Kingdom of Jordan. And then he became the Secretary General for the UNWTO, what stands for the World Tourism Organization, for 2 terms. And he has been a regular, and he has been shaping a lot of the things we have been discussing around the world. I wanted to recognize some of our chairs for our various interest groups. We have Alexandra joining us from Montenegro. We have Professor Snow White, I call her, joining us from Serbia. And we got many more. I see Walter Memzebi joining us from South Africa. So it's a really interesting crowd, and we have a lot of people today joining us right here from Hawaii. So without further ado, I wanted to give the microphone maybe just to Taleb, maybe for maybe just a short greeting, half a minute, and then to Peter, our co-host. And Peter, of course, is always with me. He's based in College Station, Texas. We're doing our news section every morning. And but Taleb, welcome. I don't know if you can hear us here. Taleb, can you hear us? I think his microphone is not showing. I show you're here, but I don't show your microphone. There seems to be something wrong with your computer. So let's go to Peter and we get back to you a little bit later. Peter, good morning.
Good morning to Hawaii. Good afternoon from Texas. Good evening to Europe. Good night to if you're in the middle of Asia. I think the Hawaiian greeting aloha is probably the perfect one to use because aloha means hello, goodbye, and love. And today I think we're going to be talking a lot about love, the love of the Hawaiian people for their islands, the love of tourists for having a good time in Hawaii. I know that in Texas, one of our favorite destinations to go is the state of Hawaii. It's in a lot of ways, we like to think of it as like a sort of a brother or a little brother to Texas, because Texas has its own unique culture from the rest of the United States, and so does Hawaii. And Hawaii even has its own special language. And I've been during the years that I worked in Hawaii, I got to learn lots of Hawaiian words. So I don't think I could do a full academic dissertation in Hawaiian, but I, at some point, was able to carry on a very simple conversation in Hawaiian. And that was really nice to see a language that was sort of disappeared, came back. And people in Hawaii are really working to rediscover their wonderful culture. And so that's not only is Hawaii beaches, Hawaii is a world of culture. We're going to be learning all about that today. So I'm not going to take up any more time for today, but Patty, I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. And I'm sure that this is going to be a really interesting session.
Yeah, and Patty, just so you know, Patty Herman is the VP of Marketing and Product Development for the Hawaii Tourism Authority. And the Hawaii Tourism Authority is similar to what in many countries is the Ministry of Tourism. So these are the people paid for by taxpayers' money to promote our tourism, what is, I think, the most important industry. And one more thing for everyone, if you read eTobo News, you can now read us in many languages. And one of the languages is Hawaiian. So if you do speak Hawaiian, just click on Hawaiian and you can actually read all our content in Hawaiian. But Patty, aloha, thank you so much for joining us, and we're anxious to hear from you. Good morning.
Aloha kakahiaka, everybody, globally. This is absolutely exciting. I understand that HTA hasn't been part of WTN presentations, etc., for a little bit. So what I wanted to do is start from the very beginning, which is our mission statement. And let me see if I can share my screen here. Sorry about that, everybody. Yeah.
So I'm going to go to slideshow number 2 now. Okay.
There we are. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. So we've already discussed our mission, and we're on the next slide. Okay, and then we were talking about the 5-year strategic plan, and we were just getting ready to talk about our KPIs, which is on the bottom grid, key performance indicators. The key performance indicators, first and most important is our resident satisfaction. And then we send out surveys, and the questions that we focus on would be: agree tourism brings more benefits than problems, and agree tourism positively affects you and your family. Next would be our visitor satisfaction, and the key survey questions on that is overall Hawaii vacation rating, if exceeded expectations, likely to recommend Hawaii, likely to revisit in the next 5 years. And then our average daily spend per person per day spend, and we have the total expenditure. On the next slide, so we talked about the 4 pillars that runs through our 5-year strategic plan. And the first one is the Hawaiian culture. So I wanted to talk a little bit, just touch on some of the key initiatives that we're doing on each pillar. And for natural resources, do you have natural resources there? Can you go back? Can you go back like 2 slides? There you go, natural resources.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Yeah. So we have the Aloha Aina program, which is it's a program value of stewardship by responsible community-based entities with an emphasis on the Aina Kanaka, which means land and human relationships and knowledge. The basic objective there is to manage, conserve, and revitalize Hawaii's natural resources and environment. Supportive agencies and organizations such as DLNR, Department of Land and Natural Resources, Hawaii Green Growth, Sustainable Tourism Association of Hawaii. And then the next pillar, which is a Hawaiian culture pillar, is Kukuluola program, which is founded on the value of Makahana Ka'ike, which translates to in working, one learns. The Kukuluola program partners with organizations who enhance, strengthens, and perpetuates the Hawaiian culture. So as Peter mentioned earlier, we are very definitely bringing back the Hawaiian culture. For a while, it was very quiet, and we are trying to make a lot of noise to make sure that it lives through our next generations to come. Hawaiian culture examples of events and festivals would be the Merry Monarch, which is a big hula festival and competition, King Kamehameha Day celebration, and Aloha Festival. Native Hawaiian Hospitality Association. This purpose is to build stronger ties between the Hawaiian community and the tourist industry through education to provide opportunities for the Native Hawaiian community. Olelo Hawaii. I think Peter mentioned this also. He Aupuni Palapala. Preserving and digitizing the Hawaiian language newspaper, and in general to bring the Hawaiian language back to the daily lives of our communities on a regular. The next slide is the community pillar. So community enrichment program is to foster residents, visitors interaction, and develop tourism markets, agri-tourism, culture, nature, education, health and wellness, volunteerism, community and sports. So if our visitors and our community don't go hand in hand, it won't create a good balance. So the emphasis on our local residents is also very strong. Training workshops, for example, would be our agri-tourism, working with our local farms so that we can work together on how to promote them better, how to promote their products better. We also do festivals and event management so that if they want to put on some sort of a market, for example, to showcase their products, then we can show them how to do that, not only in person, but in today's world in social media. And of course, working with nonprofit organizations. Workforce development program, tourism guide certification programs, very important. So this is something we're working towards to make sure that all of the guides that work with the visitors are saying the right thing. And then programs such as the lay program and service excellence certificate, which is a high school program that kind of introduces the kids into the travel industry. And of course, safety and security, very important, along with communication programs. The final pillar is the brand marketing pillar. The brand marketing is setting and managing Hawaii's destination brand and messaging. And so we oversee at this present moment, the US market, which is HVCB. Japan, by the way, Japan is the second largest, the first largest international, I should say, and the second largest people that come into Hawaii, if you will. And then we have Canada, and then Oceania, and then of course, Korea. Between 2020 and 2021, we had to terminate Europe, Southeast Asia, China, and Taiwan. Very sad. But this is all to do with budget. And we're hoping that in 2022, we will be able to bring them back, if not all at once, slowly but surely. And then directing the promotion of responsible and mindful travel by promoting the Kuleana videos, travel tip videos. Kuleana means your business, our business. So that the video is how to keep you safe as a visitor and how to keep the residents safe at the same time. And then in 2021, we are refocusing and putting a lot of emphasis on the Malama Hawaii campaign. I'll talk about these a little bit more in detail on next slides. Okay, and then as I mentioned, the Kuleana travel tip video, we actually up these on YouTube and social platforms, created to share what is the appropriate behavior for the visitors' health, safety, and our community. To respect our culture so we can perpetuate our environment and regenerative sustainable tourism. And so these are the multiple types of videos that we have going, but Jürgen, can you click on that Kuleana view?
You have to think about it from a Hawaiian perspective. And the Hawaiian perspective is that this is our ohana.
Before you go hiking, ensure that it's a public trail that you can access.
If you're going to be hiking in a place where you're unsure if it's safe or legal to access, make sure you consult with a local guide that has a lot of experience in the area that you're going to.
There's some really hot areas, there's some really cold areas, so just make sure you're prepared for any kind of conditions.
Proper footwear is really important. Having a light jacket, having rain protection.
When you're hiking, stay on the trail.
Never enter places without permission.
You know, the old environmental credo still stands, right? We want to take only pictures, leave only footprints. And if we can take that mentality back and spread those ideas around the world, then the world would be a much better place.
Aloha. We are so pleased to welcome you to the Hawaiian Islands. We have sacrificed a great deal to keep our island home safe. We hope you enjoy your time here to the fullest.
Get out into the ocean. Indulge in our diverse cuisine.
And have a first-hand experience of our thriving culture.
Whenever you leave your lodging to enjoy our island home, join us in taking precautions to promote public health and make sure Hawaii can stay open to the world. Wear a mask in public always. Remember, your mask must cover your mouth and your nose. Maintain physical distance of 6 feet when enjoying the islands. Wash your hands frequently and know that when you do, you're sharing aloha with your fellow travelers and the people of Hawaii. Mahalo for your kokua. Thank you for your help.
We encourage visitors to do what we call travel pono. Travel in a way that is positive for the thousands of miles of ocean that surround us. So we have a really important job to protect this reef that's here.
I'm extremely passionate about the ocean because the best moments of my life have been with these beautiful marine animals that I actively work to protect. And there's a number of things that you can do to help protect them as well.
These are microplastics. This is what happens to your water bottle once it ends up in the ocean.
So when you go to the beach, travel with your own reusable water bottle or your own reusable bag.
The other really important thing is choose sunscreens that don't have toxic chemicals. Reef Safe is actually a marketing term. Any sunscreen brand can just slap on Reef Safe, even if it still has harmful chemicals in it. Look at the label and choose those that are only active ingredients of zinc oxide and/or titanium dioxide. And the more people who experience what the ocean has to offer, I think the healthier our planet's going to be.
The ocean revives all of us.
When you look out, you see a beautiful blue ocean, calm seas, and a lot of times people don't see the beast that's hidden within that beauty.
You can easily identify simple things like rip currents, shore breaks, rocks.
Look for any hazard signs that are in the area that indicate some of the hazards or some of the currents.
Know and be aware of the wind, the current, where the waves are breaking, a safe place to enter and exit the water.
Make sure you let somebody know, or at least have a partner with you going out with you all the time.
And the most important thing is always try and swim where there's a lifeguard.
If you're unsure, don't be afraid to ask people. People here are super informational.
It's about understanding Mother Nature, respecting Mother Nature.
We want people to be safe and enjoy themselves.
Aloha. We are so pleased to welcome you to the Hawaiian Islands. We have sacrificed a great deal to keep our island home safe. We hope you enjoy your time here to the fullest.
Get out into the ocean. Indulge in our diverse cuisine.
And have a first-hand experience of our thriving culture.
Whenever you leave your lodging to enjoy our island home, join us in taking precautions to promote public health and make sure Hawaii can stay open to the world. Wear a mask in public always. Remember, your mask must cover your mouth and your nose. Maintain physical distance of 6 feet when enjoying the islands. Wash your hands frequently and know that when you do, you're sharing aloha with your fellow travelers and the people of Hawaii. Mahalo for your kokua. Thank you for your help.
Ho'ili hoka poa hina la ila I apo I ke kaia o ka alohi alohi ka la makahikina.
Molokai is my home. It is my soul. It is my roots. It's my breath. Molokai is a part of who I am. I come from a long line of Hawaiians that reaches back hundreds and hundreds of years ago. I love the simple life. No fast food, no stoplights, we still have a deep connection to our island. We have a deep connection to our resources. And even more so, we have a deep connection with each other. Molokai still lives off of the land. This aina is a part of who we are. It's the food that we grow in our backyard, or the food and the medicines that we gather in the forest. It's the time and the interactions we spend in the ocean. We are nourished not only by the food that comes from this land, by the mana, the energy that comes from generations and generations and generations prior. On Molokai, agriculture is first, not tourism, which is why it's so important that visitors come with respect for our island. Trust is such an important aspect in connection. In order to build that trust, you have to get to know the island by doing your homework, by being respectful, by coming with humility, by wanting to learn and embrace new things. That's the connection you want to build with Molokai and the people of Molokai. And when you leave this place better than when you came. And if that means sharing aloha, being respectful, being humble, and being open, that's more than enough.
Yeah, yeah. Aloha mai, yeah.
So the video basically are things like, when you come to Hawaii, respect our land. This is our home. Wear your masks, wash your hands, 6 feet social distancing. All of that is embedded very nicely in a very Hawaiian cultural way. On the next slide, Malama Hawaii. So we're welcoming our visitors to stay in a new way. I think COVID-19 has given us an opportunity to really think on what we really need to do. It's a great chance to pivot and perhaps change directions at the same time. In 2019, we had 10,400,000 visitors come through Hawaii. And that did damage to our natural resources, and it was a little bit overwhelming for our local community. So what we're trying to do is we're rethinking this, and the Malama program was developed. So to welcome our customers, to form a deeper connection with our culture. And this way, when they leave, when the visitors leave their trip to go back home, they have a truly enjoyable and memorable stay with us. And then the, oops, did you skip a slide after that? The Malama program? The Malama program is in partnership of hotels, airlines. We can't do it alone. We need all of the industry involved. So airlines and volunteer organizations coming together to encourage mindful and ultimately regenerative tourism and voluntourism activities. Provide visitors with a more meaningful and enriching travel experience. And on the next slide, it'll kind of start showing you, drill down to the details. It's no longer 80 partners, by the way. We have way more than 80 partners in the Malama program. And most of the programs that our partners are working is through 2021. And volunteer programs continue to grow, such as the Hawaiian Legacy Restoration Initiative, Pacific Well Foundation, Sustainable Coastlines, and USS Missouri, which is very popular for at least first-time visitors. And on the next slide, I just wanted to show you an example of, for example, what Westin Maui has done. They just come off of a very large-scale renovation, and it was a good way to showcase their property also. But for their Malama program, what they're doing is they're offering a one-night complimentary stay. If the visitor purchases this program, on one day, they will volunteer themselves into one of the programs that they choose, be it agritourism or beach cleanup, etc. On the next slide, a sample of the Battleship Missouri. The Battleship Missouri needs a lot of work done, a lot. So to restore and to preserve, like the teak decks definitely need to have work done on them. The metal decks, the bulk heads, and equipments in general. So if people have this type of skill set, we ask that you volunteer with the Battleship Missouri for one day. And in return, you will be receiving other benefits at the same time. On the right side, I think everybody knows Patrick Schwarzenegger. Well, this is not, everybody knows Arnold Schwarzenegger, I should say. But this is Patrick Schwarzenegger. It's his son. And when he went to Maui, he actually participated in the Malama program. He chose beach cleanup, and he really did enjoy being part of this engaging opportunity with the locals also. On the next slide, just wanted to show you an article that came up on travel and leisure. And it was a visitor who on Maui did quilting with a local resident. And their feedback was, I enjoyed the friendly conversation I had with a local who showed me how to stitch, and she shared stories about Hawaiian culture and how tourism in Maui has shifted amid the pandemic. So, you know, these are all good stuff that are starting to hit the media. On the next slide, Malama Hawaii 2021 will include, and already does include, aquaculture restoration. So on something like this, you can, for example, help rebuild a fish pond. So this definitely helps with regenerative tourism and the next generation of Hawaii. Sustainable farming is agriculture tourism. You can help harvest, you can help plant, and basically while you're doing this, or the visitor is doing this, you're touching with the local community, and you end up becoming very good friends. And then they go, and then once the visitor leaves Hawaii, they become a friend of Hawaii and becomes repeat guests, is what we are hoping for. Restoration, reforestation would be planting trees. Hawaii Island is well known for this. And of course, wildlife preservation. And next, Jürgen, is a vignette. So we had the golf tournament on Maui, and several of the players were able to partake in the Malama program. And these were videos that were taken of the players. So I hope the video works on this one, but can you give it a try, Jürgen?
I think the problem is I need to have two screens open, and then the sound doesn't work. Usually I put the videos up before on OBS, okay. And I don't have the OBS. I have it on my other computer. So that's why I think it wouldn't work. I'm so sorry.
No.
But we put it all on the archive later, so it's going to repeat, and then everyone can see the videos.
Mm-hmm. So then that would be the end of my presentation. But when Jürgen puts it up in the archive, please take a look at it, because it really does have the heart and soul of Hawaii, and definitely embracing the Hawaiian culture in our presentation. Thank you, everybody.
No, thank you so much, Patty. And this is, I think, it's really, Hawaii is a special place. There's a reason I lived here for 35 years. It's not like any other destination, and we're taking very good care of our environment. Hawaii as a state is leading when it comes to renewable energy. I know we have Iso joining us from Hawaii, actually, and she is involved in renewable energy and so forth. Maybe she can give us a little bit of background. But I think what's on everyone's mind right now is COVID and how is tourism coming back. And from my own observation, I can say it appears tourism is back in full force when it comes to domestic tourism, not to international tourism. As far as I know, our borders are closed. The Canadians, the Japanese, you don't see guests from international places yet, but domestic seems to be in full-fledged. I mean, I went to Waikiki this on Sunday, and there's no place to put your towel down on Waikiki Beach. So it is very busy, what is a good sign. I think our economy is waiting for this, but it's also could be a little bit scary knowing that COVID is still around. But then again, the numbers speak for itself. Our numbers really haven't gone up. Yes, they spiked a little bit to the 100. What is everyone gets nervous, but yesterday was back to 40, and we're all getting vaccinated. Patty and I were getting our second shot today. So how do you evaluate the situation here right now, Patty?
Well, we can start off by saying yesterday we had 22,000 arrivals. And as far as COVID cases for yesterday, it was 66. As far as pleasure and vacation on the island of in Honolulu was 6,700 people. On Maui, 6,000. Kona was 2,100. Lehui was 1,100. So, and that was a pleasure and vacation. We also had returning residents. They're not, 22,000 is not all just vacation and pleasure or visitors. The visitor element out of the 22,000 was 16,267. Now, with that said, Hawaii Tourism Authority, because of budgets at this time and because the international market has not really returned, one of the difficulty there for all of the international markets right now is when they go back home, they have to do a 14-day quarantine. And while if they have to do that, they need to take more time away from work, etc. And I don't think they want to get into that. So, and their countries are closed. Canada is still closed, Oceania, etc. So our budgets are very constrained right now, if you will. US market, they're going to start sending out a lot of the marketing and branding from May on. So now you understand right now, because of necessity, many of the hotels are on sale. Many of the airlines have put ticketing on sale. So while we're enjoying the visitors come through, it could be that it's not our targeted visitor. We are really focusing on the Malama program of caring for our natural resources as visitors come through, the Hawaiian culture, as I mentioned earlier, and the avid travelers, very mindful travelers. So right now, the people that are coming are people that really need to get out of their homes. Really, Hawaii is on a good package price right now. And it could be, it's a good signal because it's bearing the void, if you will, of economic infusion, but it could be that it is not exactly the planned targeted visitors that we're looking for.
But then again, it looks like we are looking for new markets. Hawaiian Airlines just recently introduced a nonstop flight to Florida, to Orlando. What we never really thought that much about the Florida market because it's the doorsteps of the Caribbean. So I know some of our friends in the Caribbean are getting a little bit nervous. And since we're a domestic destination, it's easy to come to Hawaii. And we've been talking a lot about domestic travel. And this is kind of a different form of domestic travel, because many times when we talked about domestic travel, countries are usually a lot smaller than the United States. So Taleb, I think you're with us now. How do you see this? Is this a domestic travel miracle, what we're experimenting here in Hawaii right now?
Definitely, definitely.
Okay, we can see you now, Taleb.
Okay. So definitely, Hawaii is doing the best out of what it can under the circumstance, because they have 52 states in America, and Hawaii is just one of them. So it can get whatever it wants from the American market. It is domestic. 70 to 75% of the domestic market around the world is in the United States and Europe. Only the developing countries look at tourism only a definition as international tourists. I think Hawaii is doing a great job, especially the projects that we just saw, where it's using this opportunity now to build in what should have been built in way before the crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. And Taleb had actually brought up the domestic and regional tourism right from the beginning. And I think you had an example from Aqaba in Jordan, and the window and direct flight. So this has been, I think, a focus for many countries. Also, we're quite active in Africa. In Africa, it's been a focus to promote domestic tourism, and that's what we're doing here in Hawaii, really. We're promoting domestic, not promoting, we're opening up the gates for domestic tourism, and people are responding. What I find is quite surprising, because we're always talking about the new normal, and things are going to take years to come back. And this is very different, but let's open up the floor.
Jürgen, I think we have to go back to what Patty said on some level, and that is that Hawaii is part of the United States, but it's also different from the United States. So going from Oklahoma to Kansas, in the 50 states, it's not culturally that different. But if you go, but basically you have only 3 or 4 places in the United States that are uniquely different. Hawaii is one of those places. So that for an American to go to Hawaii, he is or she is still in one's own country. You don't need a passport, you don't have to change money. But on the other hand, you get a completely different culture, a sense of a language, a completely different geography. So you're able to have both a sense of foreign travel without the problems of foreign travel. And I think that puts Hawaii in a uniquely excellent position.
No,
Peter.
Absolutely. Now, if anyone wants to weigh in, just raise your hand. We have Andrew White. Maybe when whoever is raising your hand, when you get the microphone, tell us where you are and who you're affiliated with, in case for those that don't know you. So Andrew, go ahead. You're muted, Andrew. Could you unmute yourself, please?
Yes. Andrew Welch. I am from Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. And well, before going to the point I want to make with respect to domestic and international tourism, I must congratulate Patty on the something she talked about when she spoke about how you welcome visitors. Before we even got to how we treat visitors, she talked about how she treated the community, the local community. And I think that is something well worth congratulating you for, because many tourism destinations, many tourism operators do not pay any cognizance to that at all. So that being said, the next thing I want to touch on, well, the success of Hawaii is at this time is very heavily dependent on the domestic tourism. And you mentioned the alliance between all the partners. I am doing, well, I published a book a little while ago, and I'm refreshing it now. And one of the things I see that is possibly a must is those alliances. We would see a lot of hotels closing down, so I think we need alliances between hotels. We also need alliances between hotels, ground operators, and the airlines. And I'm not talking just about the big tour operators, but I'm talking the actual players in the various segments of the industry coming together and selling themselves as a package. I think that is most necessary to get tourism back to where it was prior to COVID.
Thank you very much. I don't know, Patty, if you wanted to say something in response to Andrew.
No, I appreciate the kind comments, Andrew. Thank you. We have a very innovative CEO, John DeFries, and he just recently came on board as a CEO, and he has Hawaiian roots. So with that, the emphasis with the malama. Malama in Hawaiian, by the way, means to care for yourself, to care for your home, to care for the visitors, to care for whatever it is you touch. So I think we're trying to bring it back to a real grassroots level. And this is a great opportunity, again, because COVID has done huge damage. In March of last year, February, we had Waikiki Beach that was filled. Everything was, groups were coming through. And then seriously, 6 months later, boom, everything died. The natural resources are resting, but the economic growth has just completely went trajectory down. So, we think about what is the balance, what is important to us. So we actually have what we call the DMAP process, which is engaging with, it's a destination management action plan. It's engaging with the local residents by island to say, okay, so you have no visitors right now. let's engage. What type of visitors are you looking for? What do you expect tourism to do for you? How is it going to help your life? And multiple, all sorts of questions come through this. And of course, some people could be negative and some people could be very positive. You know, it all depends on where their mind's at. But this is a grassroots opportunity for us to really understand what the local residents are feeling and thinking, and we can nurture that and then grow from that, and then work with our travel industry partners. And when I say Malama program, I'm not talking just airlines and hotels, although they've been extremely fantastic in working with us on it. It's the wholesalers, it's the travel agents. We're already educating the Japanese, the Canadian, the Korean, the ones that are not coming through yet. They'll know exactly what to do when their gates open. So it's preparation. But thank you very much, Andrew.
And Patty, of course, this is such an important step for us here in Hawaii, having lived on the North Shore for 25, or more than 25 years. I know how important this subject is, and it's important for any destination to respect local cultures, local traditions, and protect the environment. And Hawaii is doing an exceptional job. And this is an exceptional opportunity. Besides all what is also bad about COVID, this is a good part about COVID, because all of us in the world have an opportunity to rebuild tourism. We have two more people raising their hand. One is Jalil Ahmed. As far as I remember, Jalil was before, he's a tour guide in Pakistan, correct, Jalil? Go ahead, you have to unmute yourself. Your camera is off. Okay.
Hello, it's my name is Jalil Ahmed, and I'm a tourist guide in Pakistan, and I've been guiding since 3 decades. And my family background is from the borders of Afghanistan. My parents, they migrated to the city, but as you know, the presenter said about the rural tourism, I would rather say a rather responsible tourism we need. For example, when we are going to some area which the people are really alienated and isolated, like I would like to talk about the Wakhan corridor. We have an area which is like with the border of Afghanistan and also Tajikistan and China. So I went there and the people were really not welcoming to us, because they think that the new visitors or the domestic tourism or the international tourists, they come and they destroy, you know, the ecosystem of that area. So in my opinion, the responsible tourism is much needed of the time, and we have to like aware the tourists who are coming from whatever places they are. And the policies of the county or the state really matters. So it's really a very good presentation. I just joined the presentation. I just went through it, and it was really interesting for me. And for me, I think that more of the awareness and more of the friendly policies towards domestic tourists and towards international tourists, it's a need of the time. And we must keep in mind that we never know when the pandemic is going to over. So we have to be ready for the hard time ahead. And being a tourist guide, it's really a very tough time for us. And especially being in this part of the world, that we are not being supported by the governments like the European countries are doing it. But still we are struggling, and we are sticking to our agenda and sticking to our aims, that will definitely overcome all the difficulties. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Jalil. And I know you've been very outspoken, and you've been part of our tour guides group that is very active. Just yesterday, we had a tour of the Museum for the Palestinian People in Washington, D.C., and we're going to celebrate Cherry Blossom in Washington next week. And we've gone to South Africa and celebrated 31 years tour guiding. So the tour guiding is an important part of our business. We have Alexandra. She's the chairman for our Balkan chapter in Montenegro, raising her hand. Welcome, Alexandra.
Yes, thank you. You can hear me, yes?
We can hear you fine.
Okay, so I have a question or maybe a comment for Patty, because I am a bit confused, okay? Obviously, you have a great strategy. I read it, I went on your website because Jürgen was promoting it on eTurbo News, and I read the strategy a couple of days ago, and it's just great. And I know that you have a lot of campaigns, a lot of protocols, so I'm informed about it. But on the other side, I'm a bit scared because I also saw a lot of videos and photos from Waikiki beach during the Easter season. So I just wonder, you know, you have protocols, you have measures in place, but still people are, from my opinion, they're not following it, they're not respecting it. So how do you actually find the balance? How do you, that's strange for me. What's the magic word, magic thing that you are doing in regards to that?
That's a very good question. How do you control human beings? But yesterday we had a talk story with the mayor, and Mayor Blangiardi is an amazing person, very forward-looking, and this is one of the subjects that we did bring up. Across Kalakaua and other islands, we have big banners on the light poles that says, wear your mask, keep your distance, keep your social distance, wash your hands. So it's on every light post. So people are visually seeing it. Not only that, our industry partners, be it airlines, be it hotels, they're mentioning it. So, you know, maybe we discussed that it's time to go one step further. They're not police officers, but we do have people in Waikiki that are, I forgot the word of it, but
reminding tourists how that.
They're called the Aloha Patrol.
Thank you so much. Okay, I appreciate that.
They're
the Aloha Patrol. They're the Aloha Patrol. So if anybody gets lost or, you know, etc., they're there to help. If there's trash on the ground, they're there to pick up, etc. So, you know, discussions on perhaps, is it now the Aloha Patrol's responsibility to go to somebody very politely with Aloha and say, please wear your mask, or please make sure you cover your nose. These are things that we may have to go into. We were hoping that the visual reminders were good enough, but if not, then we have to go into the second step.
Patty, if I could give you guys a little bit of some academic knowledge on this. First of all, I know the Aloha Patrol very well because I was one who founded it many years ago. So I feel very close to them. And the police station that is right on Kuala Kuala Avenue is, which has the surfboards around it, was my idea. So it feels good to hear that it's still there and it's still working. But visitors on the whole don't read. And academic studies that you need to use 3 or 4 different methodologies in order to get it into their minds. They see signs, but they don't connect the signs necessarily to them. They see the sign is about everybody else, but not me. Well, obviously that's not a true statement. So one of the things that you have to do is you have to combine the written word with, it can be with Hawaiian music, and you set every 30 seconds or every 60 seconds, you break the music and it says, please remember to put on your mask, so that it's a oral reinforcement. And then you can use the Aloha Patrol, and that's exactly what they were for. You're right on. And that was to be able to walk up to people and say, aloha, how are you doing? We hope you're having a good time in Hawaii. And by the way, let's all stay safe and put our masks on. So if you use it with both a personal touch, an oral touch, a written touch, a signage touch, then you know what? Eventually it starts sinking into people's minds. But when people, remember, when we go on vacation very often, the word vacation comes from the word vacances, meaning to empty your mind. So people go on vacation and they stop thinking. So they should think, but they don't think. And that is the human nature about which you spoke.
Right.
And Peter,
Thank you for that.
And that is true. I can tell you, living here in Hawaii, people have been very disciplined. People that live here have been very disciplined. Everyone is wearing a mask. You don't see mass protests like you see in Europe right now against wearing the mask. I see Wolfgang is making some comments on this. Now, I wanted to remind everybody.
There's a difference between the local person observing the rules and the visitor observing the rules.
No, I'm getting to that, and absolutely, and that is really what I was to say next. We need to educate our visitors.
You can't.
And that, of course, as you said, is a challenge. We had a number of other people typing comments in the chat box, and we had a few people raising their hand. It would be easier, I think, if there's Ingrid Peterson, there's Eugene Thompson, there's Wolfgang, and Nancy Barkley, and several others making comments. Just raise your hand, and we get you the microphone. We have a little bit limited time because Patty, I think, has another appointment at 9 o'clock. So. But even that, we can stay on and talk a little bit longer. But Talib and Nancy, let's start with Talib real quick. Go ahead, Talib.
Thank you. I have 3 points to make. One is Peter's point.
Oh, we lost him. Okay, we wait for him to come back. Let's go to Nancy. Nancy leads our honeymoon and wedding interest group. She's based, I believe, in Philadelphia or Washington. And we had a session on honeymoons altogether, and we had a session on destination weddings. What is big business here in our state, as you well know, Nancy, because you've been involved in it. And you raised your hand, so I'm glad you're here. Go ahead.
Yes, hi. Patty, my question is for you. So I am a wedding and honeymoon planner, and I'm based in Philadelphia. I'm also a Hawaii specialist. And we have been receiving a lot of information on Hawaii, but I've not heard about this program, which I personally know a lot of people that would be thrilled to learn about. How can I learn more about this program and help promote it?
Do you book direct or do you go through a wholesaler when you book?
When I'm doing my weddings, I go direct with the hotels, but when I'm doing my honeymoon, I go through a wholesaler.
Okay, so I think if you go on the website, gohawaii.com,
okay,
you'll see the Malama program, and you can actually take what you need and leave what you can't use.
Okay.
HVCB, because it's a domestic market, HVCB spearheading that. And the person, the CEO president there is John Monahan, and he does a very good job. And he'll actually get somebody, if it's not him, he'll get somebody to make sure that they fulfill your needs. So just reach out to them. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Talib hasn't been back yet. If there are other comments, feel free to raise your hand. We had Ingrid. I don't know where Ingrid is from. She must be here from Hawaii. She said she had some concerns in regards to, I guess, tourists not following the rules, and she had some concern about the mayor. Feel free to voice this. We have Wolfgang from Germany about an Ayala report, and he thinks tourism isn't back, won't be back for another few years. What I think may be very different here in Hawaii, judging what is going on. We also have some experts here on our call. We got Giso, I remember her. She is here from Hawaii, and she leads our new to be announced renewable energy task group or interest group. So I don't know if you wanted to say something, Giso. We also have Frank Haas here. Frank Haas, we had a session with maybe 9 months ago, but Giso, do you wanted to add to this?
Yeah, I just wanted to first share with the tourism experience, as a local person going down the Waikiki. So we wear our masks and we are trying to be friendly, but sometimes we have a backlash from the tourists. So saying you don't need to wear your mask or something. I mean, these are the human interaction that it takes place everywhere, and we can be, I don't know, more mindful or more direct, or people approaches are different, reactions are different. We learn to live with everything and make sure that we set the goals, as Patty was mentioning. Yeah, the way to the goals is always long and takes the field work that we need to do. Yeah, we have the patrols, but we also have different mindsets that are coming and going and visiting and staying here. So we have basically and this is what sustainability is. Sustainability means actually that we need to think long-term. Right now, maybe we can, not everybody can afford. Hawaii is still in a good position, having the support from federal as well. Not everybody can do that, yeah. But sustainable means to plan long-term, to educate people. We want to have responsible residents and visitors everywhere. I think that would be the best thing all of us could agree on, and then move from wherever we are in order to really promote the tourism within the communities so that people can accept it and everybody has a memorable event to take with instead of the sand from the beach. Yeah. So I think that would be for everyone the outcome, the best outcome, but the way to it is really long and takes work from everybody. All the participants have to do their best. With the best intention, I think we can achieve a lot. Yeah, but still the way to it is long. So, but
No, thank you.
sustainability and resiliency, is that what it takes?
Thank you,
Jürgen, I have 3 webinars today, so I have to jump off for another one. This is Frank Haas, but thank you, Patty, for a lot of information. Just a couple of thoughts. One is that things are coming back. There's some disagreement about how fast they're coming back. Certainly, we had a good March. The numbers just came in for Oahu for hotel performance in March. They came out this morning. So occupancy is at 40%, which is a nice improvement, but it's definitely not where it used to be. We're having some hiccups as things come back. During the depth of the pandemic, the rental car companies all reduced their fleets. And so for those wonderful visitors that we like to have that rent cars, they're having a hard time with availability and pricing. Another observation is that all markets are not created equal. Patty said that the international markets are closed down primarily because of COVID restrictions. For example, if you go back to Japan, you have to quarantine, so that's probably a non-starter for anyone traveling. And some of the markets that we've enjoyed in the past, we don't know about in the future. The business market, the convention market, some other markets. So there's lots to discuss, lots to look at. Patty gave us a good starting point, but as we go through this recovery, we're going to have to deal with lots of these issues. There's some other good news. The air seat forecast for the first quarter shows nice returns, both domestically and even internationally. And Japan even has some 125,000 seats forecast for the quarter upcoming. So they're expecting some sort of recovery. Anyway, there's lots to talk about, and it's a great start to the conversation.
No, thank you, Frank. And for those that don't know Frank Haas is one of our members from Hawaii. He joined us right in the beginning back in April or March a year ago. And Frank actually had Patty's position when I met him. And I was chasing Frank actually for advertising for Entrepreneurs, but he never agreed on. But I think we became friends after this anyway. And he's now a consultant, I believe, and has been working on a blueprint for Hawaii before we got into this COVID situation. So he's definitely one of our leaders and people who are understand this business and have been a veteran in this business. Patty, I fully understand if you interrupt me if you have to go.
Yes, I'm sorry. That was my alarm. I hope everybody didn't hear it, but I do have to jump off into another Zoom. So
Patty, it was great to be with you.
Yeah.
Jürgen, another word about Frank. Frank actually taught a course at one of the community colleges in Hawaii about tourism security, and I had the honor that he used my textbook. So I have great warmth towards Frank and the fact that he introduced my textbook to all the college students in Hawaii on tourism security.
Well, thank you, Peter. We had Andrew Welch. Andrew, let us know where you're from. You raised your hand.
Yes, Andrew Welch. I spoke a little earlier, but The point I want to touch on now, we were a little while back, someone mentioned the tourists and getting the tourists to comply. I do guest lectures for the master's class at the University of the West Indies. And one of the things I tell them is that just as we train tour guides, we have to train our tour guides and train our representatives to train visitors. You literally train them as to how to behave, not making it, not in an overt, rough way, but through the examples that the tour guides are setting. So to get that level of compliance from your guests, your local representatives have to be skilled at coaching the guest into doing the things you would like them to do.
No, absolutely. And talking about tour guides, I wanted to maybe give the microphone for a minute to Marika Donato. She heads our tour guide interest group, and we just had a really good event yesterday, and we're going to have another one coming up. She can tell us a little bit more about. Marika, welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jürgen, and hello, everyone from Washington, D.C. We have a beautiful weather today, nice and sunny, and our cherry blossoms are about to fade away. We had them for 1 week, but now they're almost gone. So we are doing a special program on the gift that keeps on giving, a story about the cherry blossom. So we're going to take you back to Japan, talk to you about the roots, the origin, the tradition, and then the celebration of the blossom itself. Why is everybody so enamored with this flower? Why is everybody so captivated once a year, and it's like 5 days. So we want to share our stories with you. We'll be about 5 tourist guides who will participate and join WTN in this beautiful event that we're organizing on Saturday, April 10 at 3:00 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope you can all come and also, share your beautiful stories about springtime.
And you can sign up at worldtourismevents.com. It's listed. And yes, and hopefully we're all going to be back together and see you there. Well, we're a little bit over time, and I think this was an interesting session, and hopefully you enjoyed your little glimpse how we do things here in Hawaii, and we can do this again. And I wanted to give the last word to Peter before we say aloha to everybody, and thank you for participating. You can see this session after we're done live on eTober News, and you will also see it on livestream.travel. And so if you ever wanted to come back to it, and we will include the slide presentation Patty had, or the YouTube presentation Patty had, into the archive. But Peter, you have the last word.
Thank you. I think this was a really fascinating session. We shouldn't think about it just as Hawaii, but rather think of Hawaii as a microcosm of other, especially island nations around the world. Hawaii has the advantage that it does have a closed border, which makes life a little bit easier. Closed border in the sense that you can't drive into Hawaii. You can only come by boat or by plane, and that makes life a little bit simpler. On the other hand, Hawaii also, if you read the comments, you can see there's a real division often between some of the local people, and some of the local people are very pro-tourism, and some of the local people have questions about tourism. And I think that's something that as we rebuild after the COVID, we're going to need to figure out ways to make the local communities comfortable with visitors. Visitors are not going to act like locals, no matter what we say. We're never truly going to be able to educate the individual visitor, but we can create examples, and those examples will work. Be creative, use multiple methodologies. Don't just lecture, but demonstrate, live it, show it. And you know what? Aloha means love and hospitality, and that's really what Hawaii is all about, love and hospitality. So let's all share the aloha spirit. I want to thank everybody and aloha to all of you.
Aloha. Thank you. Good night, good morning, good day.